Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cosmic Panel, and today we are reviewing Thunderbolts, Asterix. And we all watched the movie today, opening day, Thursday, and I'm pretty excited about talking about this film. I was surprised. I was pretty impressed. Let's do our one-sentence reviews real quick, if we can go around the room.
Yeah.
And do that.
Yeah, so I'll kick off. This is the most heartfelt Marvel film I've experienced in a long time. That isn't just a James Gunn movie. Yeah.
I was expecting like a mid Marvel movie. I wasn't expecting like an actually good movie going into this. So it's good.
Yeah, I would call this a pleasantly surprising action romp with the ability to make us care about obscure Marvel characters.
This is Marvel's The Suicide Squad.
Yeah. This film is really interesting.
I was like,
Yeah, the Suicide Squad. But even then, this feels original enough that I didn't feel like it was a copy paste of that, which is like
what I was kind of concerned about.
I was also very concerned about that. I was like, oh man, this is going to be a copy and paste of either the original Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad. And like, even if it was good, it would just make me feel like, oh man, we've already done this. But it was so well done. The characters are so fleshed out. The cinematography is really fucking good for this film.
Like, the cinematographer for this did The Green Knight. I gotta look up his name.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I was impressed with the camera work for sure. I thought the overall just atmosphere of the movie was way better than most of the recent Marvel stuff. Like, it had a unique look, you know?
Yeah, it felt like, to me, like the good era of Marvel, like the Civil War, Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
you know, like when they were actually good. It felt like if I didn't know that it came out today, you could have told me that it came out back then when they were doing those movies, and I would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this had a really strong, I think, just production in general. A lot of the cast is really good. I think everyone behind the camera is really good. So the cinematographer is Ryan Samol. Does a lot of stuff, but I think The Green Knight is a great movie, and I think it's a beautiful looking movie. So it was nice to see some kind of artistic flair to a lot of the sequences in this. I mean, I think overall, just a solid entrance into the Marvel universe. I think it has some issues, but I think we'll probably go over that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think this film is just, even the set design feels so thought out. Like a simple scene where like Yelena's going into her nightmare room and she hits the wall and it's just like the painted trees. Like, even a moment like that, I was like, oh wow. Like, this
reminded me of like the shit I loved about Agatha all along. You know, where they tear the
what I was thinking
of. Reality and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was so good, and man, but also like this was a tight movie. Like, there, like, genuinely, I could think of maybe like a little bit of fluff in the Congress ballroom, but other than that, this is a tight 2-hour film that really just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
and that is great. That is what I want when I go to watch a movie. I don't want to unnecessarily feel like I'm being dragged down. I want to watch a movie. I want to experience these characters, but I also want it to move along in a way that feels worth my time. And this did that while also giving us so much character development with John, with Yelena. Only one who didn't really get as much character development was Ghost.
That's
to be honest.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh, and obviously Taskmaster, but I mean,
oh my God.
Taskmaster got the Slipknot treatment from the original Suicide Squad.
That was Lucas's theory on that.
Yeah, I literally said, I was like, I didn't see a single scene of them outside of that room, so they're dead as soon as.
And also all the posters and stuff of just like Taskmaster almost entirely cropped out of most of those. Is like they were really trying to. I mean, a lot of the advertising I was also impressed with. They did a lot of
the marketing campaign was really good for this movie.
Yeah, like I thought Bob was supposed to be Bob the Hydra agent. I was like,
Yeah.
he's not in the
really?
Deadpool movie.
When I saw the first trailer, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah,
I was like, okay, it's just rando Bob. They're doing that funny bit.
I wasn't sure if it was Sentry Bob, but I definitely thought it was after like the second trailer.
I only watched like the first trailer for any MCU. I mean, for anything, period. Now, to be honest,
I mean,
I just don't trust
the
them.
same thing. I say trailer. It's more of I watched the first teaser and then I watched the trailer.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But like I count those both as trailers because I mean teasers literally don't do. There's no differentiation nowadays, unfortunately. But yeah, no. Let's just go through the characters. I think just going through the characters and then we can just go over
that. I forgot that I have.
Oh yeah, I also got that.
Yeah,
I also got that.
Oh,
so.
What is that?
Huh?
A little Thunderbolts keychain.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
The
We didn't go to AMC.
Oh. Yeah, peasants.
Didn't go and see it in IMAX.
Yeah, you didn't see. You don't have the like movie pass or whatever the.
No.
I do like this as a symbol though. This is funny.
Yeah, I do like that. It's a little bit of a shame that it's
let's talk about the
going
character.
to happen again, but like it's not gonna, they're not going to keep it, but
yeah. But let's talk about the characters. Yelena. What did you guys think of Yelena as a character in this film?
It felt like a Yelena movie, not in a bad way, but she by far was the most
Prevalent.
developed, shown up character. And honestly, I'm kind of glad because going into it, she was personally my favorite character, and coming out of it, she's still my favorite. Like the best in my mind.
It's hard not to like Florence Pugh. Like she's just a really incredible actress, and I think she adds a lot of character and personality to this, character, where she does stand out when it comes to the rest of the team. Like I think we'll talk about the rest of it, but I do feel like there was nice dynamics and chemistry between everyone, where everyone kind of had their piece to play, and they all symbiotically kind of fed off each other for their dynamics, kind of culminating in the end, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Elias, what about you?
Yelena was cool. I mean, she definitely was not. I just have a bad like taste in my mouth from Black Widow, where I was expecting like just like corny bullshit with her, but yeah, her writing was way better. Just in general, choosing the Void to interact with these characters and have that effect on people gives us flashbacks in a necessary way versus it just being like forced down our throats, like backstory being forced down our throats. So that was natural. So I thought that was good. Yelena's backstory was good. Her interaction with Red Guardian was good. I thought she was pretty strong.
Yeah. I think Yelena's really, really interesting. As someone who does suffer from mental illness, it felt way too close to home a little bit, especially with like how nonchalant she felt in the beginning. Like it was like, kind of going through the motions of stuff. And I like how throughout the film she's kind of the glue that holds the team together. But like that scene where she's just like, no, fuck all of you. Like I'm so over this. Like it felt so realistic because of how cutthroat she was. And obviously, like she said at the moment, but like you can tell that she immediately also regrets saying it as soon as she said, like my theater literally winced at the John Walker line. Where it's like even your family knows it. Everyone in the theater.
Yeah,
was like,
ours
oh
too.
damn.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times in this movie, she has a couple like she says stuff and she knows it's wrong, like as she's saying it.
She does it
such a relatable.
maliciously.
Yeah. It's such a relatable. I mean, I think everyone can just have those moments where, like, you say something or you do something, and you're like, "Why the fuck did I do?" Or even doing it, you're like, "Why am I doing this?"
Mm-hmm.
But Yelena was really great, and I mean, like Balti said, was my most like anticipated character going into this. I love them. They were the best part of Black Widow. They were easily the most the most fun part of Hawkeye, or at least one of them. And like, I mean, they're the Probably the only new character that I am like genuinely really attached to. I would say
that's what I was gonna say. I like that they kind of put her in a leadership role because she's one of the few, I guess, current newer Marvel characters that I would like to see kind of at the forefront of the next like big fucking Thanos or whatever, Doctor Doom, I guess, or whatever. Like she's the one, like Spidey, I want him to do his own thing, and Falcon didn't really
Cap.
Captain America, yeah, Cap didn't really like isn't selling me that much, and everyone else is just kind of doing their own thing. She's
him trademarking that shit at the end felt
yeah.
so scummy and like in like an awful way where it was like that feels out of character for Sam.
Who's his Avengers?
That's also
who does he know? He knows his his new Falcon. He knows
man's got like 2 people and a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, like this is an actual
felt out of character. It was like weird. It was like really like even after Bucky talks to him, it felt like really like he would.
Well,
I think
it's
Bucky. Teams?
I think it's literally just that Sam hates Fontaine and doesn't, like the government sanctioned hero thing. I think that's literally it.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah,
maybe like a Civil War type thing.
Yeah,
but like Florence, like I said Florence, like Yelena says, like we have you. Like it's less of a like Fontaine team at that point.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the public look.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Although I can't imagine Bucky not telling him, being like, no,
that's the thing. Like I feel like Bucky would be like, yeah, don't worry, we got her, bro. Like
yeah,
like we have this covered. Like we're not being
also
played by her.
Like it's not like Bucky is really a guy who would be really on the U.S. government side of things. Like, okay, I get that he's a...
Well, I mean, he's literally a congressman.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he's a congressman.
It is weird that he's a congressman, though.
He was
did he even serve out his term?
No, that's the whole joke, is that he's a terrible congressman.
Yeah. He might, I mean...
He was just trying to, I don't know, change his ways, grow in a different way, grow in a different direction.
I guess we should talk about Bucky next.
Yeah,
because we're already doing it.
But he's added last. I honestly feel like we should talk about him last.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's the least,
developed.
Then let's talk about hit character Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah.
I am so mad. Because this is the second time
the whole point.
That a personal, a villain that I personally liked kind of got wasted. But at least Ultron got a movie. Like I'm still mad about Ultron.
Well, Taskmaster did get a movie. It's just called Black Widow.
Yeah.
And it's not a good movie.
No, and Taskmaster was like a side character in it.
For me,
it's a shame because they could have developed it.
I just hope that they what's it called, Mandarin her, where there's like the real Taskmaster shows up.
Oh
I hope at least you can save that and not. It's not just like,
it could be someone
Taskmaster's
else.
Never coming again.
It could be someone else because, especially developing, her suit and, she looked more legit and, I was like, oh, great, this is, whatever. Obviously, I still had Lucas's theory in the back of my head, but, either way, it's kind of a shame to have to do that with any character because of the failure of another movie. Because I feel like that's what it is people didn't like Black Widow. People didn't care enough about this character. And so the filmmaker was like, oh, to set the stakes, I'm going to kill a person off in the first, 20 minutes or whatever.
Who got to live.
So I get it.
You know who got to live?
Shame.
Ghost. Hit character Ghost that everyone knows.
Honestly, I really like them, but yeah, they didn't get that much. I was surprised we didn't get a whole The Void moment with them.
I think that
that is weird, right?
I think
we didn't get it with
really
Harbor
strange
either,
that we only
but I think that's because they're relying on the fact that we know her from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Sure,
but we don't.
But we don't. Well, we don't.
Because
that's the thing. Yeah,
because she didn't have characterization in that, and also no one saw.
Well, she did. Well, I think the main issue is that no one saw it.
Yeah.
She's well. In Ant-Man and Wasp, I think she's pretty well fleshed out. They show the experimentation on her. They show her dad, Egghead, getting fucked up by the
I'm
whatever.
fine with us not seeing Bucky's though. Like that
we already know Bucky.
Yeah,
we
know
get
Bucky.
It.
Well, I'm fine with that.
But yeah, Ghost. Or I guess we're talking about Taskmaster.
There isn't much to talk.
Now, what do you guys?
Yeah, but I'm saying let's go to the next one.
Okay. Well, I was.
I guess Ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah, I guess Ghost.
I liked. We talked about Ghost too.
I liked what we did see. They really took I don't want to say nothing character because there was a little bit, but like a kind of like a not very well developed character and made her one that I actually like care about now.
Yeah. And also I like the use of her abilities throughout the fights, one, but also like the simple weakness of like just having her equilibrium thrown off just immediately makes her like not be able to use her powers, which is like, it makes sense because like she doesn't want to phase through the floor if she's like falling.
Yeah.
Well, but I think that the whole point was those sonic cannons were designed for her. That was designed. Yeah, that was designed to.
Yeah, they had that, and I like,
which is smart because otherwise she'd probably be too OP.
Yeah.
Personally, how I feel about her in like one sentence, I guess, is that I feel like they could have done her better, but I wanted to see more, not less. Like if she was a bad character, I would just want her out of the movie. Yeah. I just want to see more of her, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Sure.
Yeah, you took a character that I went in being like, okay, okay, we're bringing back, I guess, Ghost, to like me going, okay, I'm actually excited to see Ghost next time.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird that she's on the Avengers, though.
I mean, she's the only one other than Bob that actually has powers. Yeah, well, other than just like being like a super soldier,
being a super soldier, which is pretty.
I mean, it's
common at this point. I guess you could just go to the dollar store and buy super soldier serum.
Well, I mean, they did kind of gather up like 3 out of the 4 other Captain Americas, like who have the exact Captain America thing. Like, they did just maybe not exact, but like out of the 4 other Captain Americas, they got 3 of them in one team. So it's like,
yeah.
But moving on from that, John Walker. I really like his character. I liked, he was for me the best part of the Falcon Winter Soldier show, period.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the easy highlights of the show, and I like that we get to see further fallout from just like that show, in the fact that like he loses his wife and kid, but also it's not like fucking slammed over our heads. It's like, John, you lost your wife and kids, didn't you? John, hey, remember when you lost your wife and kid? Like it didn't feel like that. It was just a quick line from Bucky being like, I get now why I get that your wife left you, but you can't be acting like this. Like just that simple line. It's like, cool. That's all we needed. That's you don't need to go any further than that. And I like that they didn't.
What I like about John's character is he's not like an evil dude. He's not a bad person. He's just kind of an asshole, and he goes about things in a brunt-headed way where he's not necessarily thinking about it in a tactical sense. He's thinking about it in an arrogant way where he thinks he can do it, and then he just fails because he doesn't have the actual ability to do it. I think we saw that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where like he comes at this wanting to be the next Captain America, not to like take the mantle and just abuse it. His whole idea is he wants to like serve the country, he wants to help people, but he goes about it just in the wrong way.
I think on that note, he's a very good foil to Captain America, like the real, like Steve Rogers, and to a slightly lesser extent Sam Wilson, in that they're like the good part of like the American dream and he's the part that doesn't think. Yeah, not even the Bucky. He's the other half of the American dream of the like America World Police, where he comes in and he just kind of assumes he knows everything.
Yeah.
He assumes he's gonna get it right.
Yeah.
Where Steve and Sam would kind of try and think things through and try and find what's best, and he's just like, well, I'm Captain America, so I know what's right.
Yes.
And he's sort of the opposite side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like that, like, even in some of his moments, he's, like, somewhat right in, like, some moments. Like, the thing where, like, Yelena isn't able to turn on the lights. He's like, that was too many variables. It's like, yeah, actually, you know what? Like, in hindsight, yeah, that he wasn't wrong. Like, that was too many variables that they couldn't control. If the lights didn't turn on, there was a possibility of him getting killed. Like, there is a potential timeline where he just fucking dies. right there, and it's just because Yelena couldn't turn on lights, and yeah, I like that, and I like that he's an asshole. Bob almost just makes him commit suicide. I love his dynamic with Bob, where he's just like, huh, this guy, and it's really funny because Bob is taller than him too.
I
So
love
it's
the
really funny for him to be like,
I love
what-
the oh, you're Captain America? You're kind of
Yeah.
an
Just
asshole.
laughing.
Kind of an asshole, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
And I would just say in general that I thought that the funny moments were actually pretty funny.
yeah, they weren't overabundant, which is good.
Yeah.
That was what I was worried. I thought it was just gonna be slapstick humor out the wazoo.
Well, not just that, it was actually good humor. Like, it wasn't just like occasional. It was occasionally really funny stuff.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, I guess we'll get to him. Red Guardian. Dave Harbour was fucking great.
He was funny.
Okay, I think this is where we're gonna disagree.
He was funny, but if some of his stuff was a little ham-fisted.
Yeah.
But anyway, did we finish on Walker, I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So moving on to Red Guardian, yeah.
Yeah, I think Red Guardian does the emotional moments really well. But he's how do I put this eloquently? He's fucking annoying as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think he's annoying?
and not in the like John Walker way where you're like you love to hate him. It's just like genuinely he's just annoying at times. I mean, it's like I get that we're supposed to feel like how Yelena feels in that scenario where it's like, oh, it's my dad. But like
I think that you need that.
Yeah, I know.
This is a fucking depressing movie at times. And
Yeah,
all of these characters are fucking miserable. It's gonna be really annoying for someone to be lighthearted, but you need it also. You really need it, and that's why he had the emotional moments, is because through everything, as goofy as he was right. You can't just fucking stop. You can't just, like, you gotta be a good guy sometimes. Even if he's an idiot, he was right. And I think that's why he's in my mind really necessary for this movie, because he's the as cliche as it sounds, he's the heart and soul of this.
Well,
okay, that might be a little bit too
No,
much.
I
was there along with you until you said he was the heart and soul of the movie, and I was like,
No, not the movie, of their team, of their, like, he's why they don't just fucking throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Like, 3 times throughout the movie, he's the one who's just kind of like, no, we gotta get moving.
I think they really capitalized off the idea that there is a father-daughter duo on this team, and kind of really played up the idea of like there's a father figure who wants to see his daughter succeed and be happy with herself and her life, and then he's this kind of has-been who has had chances but nothing really ended up happening of it, and she's kind of where he would like to be. So I think it's an interesting dynamic just to watch him kind of support her, but also be this cheerleader and someone who also wants to be the star of the show as well. I think that's where I really liked kind of him in this story in terms of what he was doing to drive the plot. I think a lot of the comedy kind of, some of it lands, and I think some of it kind of feels a little ham-fisted, like you said, like kind of easy jokes. But I think that David Harbour is such a good comedic actor that I think he pulls it off to where like it hits. Yeah, I mean, I think that they really kind of just dove right into the idea of you know, a father and daughter, you know, still trying to support each other and do the right thing and kind of grow as people together, which I thought is a good, you know, pushing force for a team like this.
I think the moments that for me stood out with that character was one when he thought Yelena died, but also when he talked with Yelena, and Yelena called him out, being like, "I lost my fucking sister, and then I lost my father," and it's like, and I love that he doesn't have a response to that. Like, I kind of like that he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I did fuck up."
Yeah,
it's not a thing of him going, "Oh well, like I had this excuse." It's like literally him. He just goes quiet, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I think
You
that's why
fucked up.
I think that's why I personally liked him so much, is because I would find him really annoying if he wasn't so three-dimensional. If he didn't have those moments of
I think it's fair.
he is kind of a fuck up, and he knows he's kind of a fuck up, and he's trying to. He knows Yelena, and he knows the others aren't. Like he knows that they shouldn't be like him, and I think that's why he tries so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I would find him just as annoying if he didn't have those moments where he was like, or even Yelena was like, yeah, you kind of screwed shit up, and he knows it.
Yeah, hanging a lampshade on it kind of ends up helping him. Yeah, I agree.
What about you, Elias? What do you think?
I think, yeah, I mean, his comedy, is sometimes a little forced, but I think it's just like in like the not so, creative comedy moments, it's still like, oh, this is an MCU movie. Like it's nothing I'm not used to. But yeah, I mean, he's fun. I would have liked to see a little more, I guess, like action out of him. But yeah, he becomes more of a comedic character, as like his main character trait, which is fine. I get it, but I just don't love it.
I thought he was gonna die in the final act, straight up.
Yeah,
I thought when
I thought he was
went to
gonna
save
die.
that little girl, I thought he was dead for sure.
Oh no, I thought he was gonna die in the first Sentry encounter.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
baited
when
everyone.
He throws him out the fucking window. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's
and then
done.
pulls him back.
I
Yeah.
thought he was about to like Krillin his ass, where like Frieza
yeah.
just like fucking just.
Does Sentry
Yeah.
have telekinetic powers in the
Oh,
comics?
I thought he was just gonna keep going when he threw him out the window. I thought
think
he was
only
just gonna
Void
wind up in
does.
space.
that fight was so cool too.
Yeah, that was
that was
really
that was a
good.
good fight.
I feel like we should save a whole just talk about just that fight by itself.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
once we finish the characters, because
But
that one fight.
so let's talk about Bucky before we talk about
Bucky.
Bob.
Yeah.
Bucky, his intro scene is great. Like his intro scene on the highway is so cool. Like it immediately brings you back into the character, being like, "Oh yeah, this is why he's a badass."
Yeah.
It's,
Like, this is
the
why
only.
He's competent.
He's one of the few actual Avengers left, and like in the beginning of the movie, when everyone's talking about, oh, the Avengers are gone, like him single-handedly just demolishing those like the group that was giving everyone else so much trouble, just like super easy. You're like, oh yeah, that I get the power scaling. Like I get why he's so like why the Avengers are so like holy shit, because just one of them showing up, and he's not even like an OG. Just one of them showing up is enough for everyone to be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bucky is one of those characters that I think has grown on me more. The more I've seen him in the MCU. Like I think that when he first showed up in Captain America, he's just obviously like a supporting character, and I think if you read the comics, you'd know that he'd probably come back after the first one in the sequel, and he comes back as Winter Soldier, and you're like, okay, he's just like he's the robotic killer assassin who's coming after you, and like you can't stop him. He's just gonna keep coming, and then they solve that, and then we get kind of that whole arc where he is on the run because of in Civil War, and we kind of learn that he really regrets all this stuff that he did, and then that's delved even further into in the show with him and Falcon, and then to see him kind of at this point where he's become kind of comfortable with himself to the degree where he knows that he's in the right. We see him like super confident in these situations. He's on Congress because he feels like he wants to try and do more off the battlefield than just on the battlefield. And I don't know. I think it's just endearing to keep watching him grow as a character. I feel like it's interesting that we get that kind of stuff in a cinematic universe like this, like with Loki and like other characters. But he really has become kind of like a top character for me in this whole cinematic universe.
It's really interesting to me because I feel like a lot of these characters, if the actors wanted to stick around, there's so many more stories to tell.
Yeah.
But we've really, truncated at least in my mind, the lifespan of these characters because actors don't want to do more than 4 or 5 movies. And, the whole thing with the MCU that they like to do is be like, oh, 5 years have passed since the last movie. Oh, 10 years have passed since the last movie. And like, that's cool to try and like show that like there's a lot of growth happening very quickly. But it's also kind of takes away from the fact that, at least, if you're a comic book reader, the rich history that these characters have, and all the stories and all the writers and all the artists that have worked with these characters. So yeah, it is nice to see, Bucky have like a long, at this point, arc.
Yeah.
Because Sebastian was just willing to stick around.
Probably the longest arc, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of the characters that really benefits from it the most, because he's kind of has the most complicated and the most in-depth arc. It wouldn't feel as good if he just went like good, evil, good in the span of like 2 movies.
Sure.
It feels better. Like someone like, obviously more character development is good, period. But someone like Thor doesn't lose as much if he doesn't have as much time as someone like Bucky, because Bucky just has so many more layers, and it's so much more satisfying to see him go through sort of finding himself, where other characters don't necessarily need it as much. Like, you kind of get who they are earlier than you do with Bucky.
I also think it depends on the level of popularity of the character. Like, I feel like probably not as many people were paying attention to Bucky before the movies, probably.
That's true,
So I feel like, that also helps. It's like, people don't know a lot about him. They like this actor, obviously.
Yeah.
They're interested, they want to learn more, Whereas like Thor, you had to wait for the right filmmaker to come along to make people really care about him. You know what I mean? But once you hit Ragnarok, Infinity War, Endgame, Thor is amazing. Like, his writing just upgrades so quickly.
Yeah,
but that's down. But that's sort of what I mean about, like, it helps, and everyone loves Thor after those, but no one really, like, you didn't lose that much in the early Avengers movies. Like, you kind of get who he is.
Yeah.
Not as much, and more, like I said, more development is better, but Bucky's one of those where, like, if he didn't get that, he would just kind of be a weird, like,
stale, boring.
They did it with Wanda. They did it with Wanda where they didn't sort of give her enough time to fully go through that arc. She kind of just kept switching up super suddenly, and it felt weird.
Yeah.
Where Bucky, they spaced it out so much longer. Yeah, it felt a lot more organic than Wanda, who has a very similar sort of good to bad, like a sort of similar thing, and it feels a little jarring at times.
If I may,
because she was tossed around to too many different writers. Sorry, but go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of Wanda, I kept thinking every time we would get like a flashback of like a dark nightmare sequence to Age of Ultron, where we get Wanda tapping, all the Avengers, and they end up seeing like their worst moments or whatever. I don't know why it felt kind of redundant to a degree, but I know why. It was a storytelling mechanism to try and flesh out the characters, but
especially this movie was very much like characters who kind of like.
Oh, you're talking about
the B tier character.
She touches their temple.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
I don't know. It's been so long since Age of Ultron at this point that for me it didn't feel redundant in that regard. But I was just gonna say that last little thing on Bucky. This was one of the few times where I was like, yeah, the TV show actually did something. Like, to me, the TV show actually helped Bucky's character in this movie, because if you went from like him in Endgame to this, the Congressman flip would feel even like way too much of a turn. While like the show really hits on like him atoning for everything. Him becoming a congressman kind of feels more earned,
and
especially because like his interaction with John too. Like, you literally wouldn't know, one, John's story, or B, you wouldn't understand his relationship with John.
It sort of, for me, retroactively like helps Sam's 100%. Arc too, because it feels like, okay, Sam got to him. He like got to the core, and he sort of taught Bucky something that like I could see after Sam's whole big thing at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, Bucky going, that guy, he, even though he wasn't talking to me specifically, like, he was right. I could be doing more than just punching guys.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, and it sort of, in my mind, retroactively makes Sam a little bit more the classic Steve Rogers Captain America thing of like inspiring people.
I didn't even think about that. That actually makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
That Sam inspires him to become a congressman. Like I didn't even think about that with that speech.
Yeah, because I mean that's the last time we see Bucky, so that's in my mind that's him
Captain
sort
America.
of. Oh,
but yeah, you're
but
right.
that's in my mind that's the last like major time that he's really like doing stuff other than just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
He in my mind that's sort of maybe when he goes like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna try to be better.
So let's talk about the last real major character.
Last Thunderbolt.
I absolutely love this character. Straight up, I think he's the best part of this film. I was really worried going into this film, figuring out that it was the Sentry. I was worried that they were going to really do a bad job with the mental health representation and the DID representation. Dissociative identity disorder gets represented really poorly very often as like a very like, hey, these people are crazy and are going to kill you, and it don't be friends with them.
It's like hardly understood in real life, much less like in media.
Yeah, exactly. Like Split is like a perfect example of like how badly it can be portrayed, where it's just like, oh, you can become a serial killer? Like, it's like,
no, man, didn't you see that they studied and spoke to DID patients? Didn't they? I saw some fact that said that for Split.
Yeah.
They were like, McAvoy studied. It's just a shame because I like McAvoy, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the problem with that movie wasn't his acting.
Yeah,
no.
But so like the thing that I like about this though is that it's not DID.
It's
bipolar disorder.
It's bipolar.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That makes it so much better.
Because it really was kind of an ingenious way to represent that thematic kind of.
Exactly, the highs and the lows, like to hit that dichotomy without resorting to, oh, he has a split personality.
Yeah,
it was so much better, and it was so well done. And the fact that I fucking bawled my eyes out when he was fighting against the void version of himself, and all the other Thunderbolts were holding him. Like it was just so touching because it's like, that like just being almost consumed by your own like self-loathing / like your own isolation and having to be dragged out from that brink. It can happen, and it really fucking sucks, but having that support group, having that like group of friends that are going to stick by you and help you through that is like so important. And the film does such a great job of demonstrating that like none of these guys are like the pinnacle of mental health or like but they're a support system. They help each other, and at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Even outside of mental illness, it's very much like a like everyone is everyone has that very like feeling alone when you're really dark and feeling alone, and obviously it's worse when you have a mental health issue and everything, and obviously this movie kind of highlights also, which I very much enjoyed, the way that trauma can sort of feed into or create that too, where you can be healthy. You can be healthy and then just get so fucked up by life that it messes you up so much, and I like that.
He's a heroin addict.
Yeah,
like, they just barely talked about that.
That's something that I really meth, I think he said.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
meth,
you're right.
Meth. But that's something that I really liked in this movie that sort of gets to the whole like the stupid, I forget what it is, but like the stupid thing that people say is like, oh, DC is gods pretending to be people and Marvel is people pretending to be gods or whatever, right? That's stupid. But this did kind of feel like that, because with the other characters, it's like, oh, one's a super assassin and one's a like, it's hard to relate to that. Like you get it, but it's hard to relate. And this is like, he had just very normal problems in his life. Like when we see Sentry's flashbacks, it's like he had abusive parents, he was on drugs, he never found his place in life. That's something that kind of could just happen to anyone that you know, to anyone. Like it's just, they're very real problems.
He went to the clinic literally for more drugs. Like it wasn't even a thing of like he went to sign up for the trial. He was just like,
well, he wanted.
Can I get more shit?
Well, right. I like that they said it was both. It was he was either hoping to score more drugs or be part of or fix him or be part of something. Yeah,
which is what happens in the comics also. Like literally, like he takes the serum because he's literally looking for drugs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. As someone, I went into this knowing
he breaks into
about
the scientist's house, literally breaks into his house because he's looking for drugs and he's like on heroin or meth.
Yeah.
And literally it's the same thing. And then he takes the medication and then they spin the whole story about him being chosen and that is like a spin that the US government throws on his story.
I went into this movie knowing zero about Sentry. I knew he was super OP. He was like Superman, basically. I knew he had some mental issues, and I knew he had the Void, some weird thing that like is in him or follows him or something. That's what I knew. I knew he's. Oh, and I knew he got his ass kicked by Null in one of the comics. Like
which Donny Cates literally said after he did that, he was like, "Yeah, wait, actually, I shouldn't have done that because like, like literally, he said like the Sentries actually was like is way too OP to be killed off."
That. I mean, I kind of like. I mean, they brought him back, right?
Thing. Yeah.
No, he died.
I looked up
He's
something.
Dead.
Well, no. I looked up something. They brought him back. Void is dead. According to the Marvel Wiki or whatever.
So the Marvel Wiki's wrong. He's in Valhalla right now. His zombified corpse got brought back for a little bit, but then Doctor Strange and Clea killed him.
Yeah. Knowing nothing about him, I thought it was a cool way to sort of show that Null was on that other level, like he was an actual real. They weren't just hyping him up for him to do nothing, but that's a separate conversation. I went into this knowing nothing, and I really like the character, and I really am like, wow, I want to see more of him and hear more of him and read more of him.
He's really funny. He's like the best like comedic bit of this film.
But that's what I was gonna ask is like for you guys who know more about him, like what am I missing?
Honestly, not much. He's a character that rarely gets character development because of like how sporadic his appearances are, to be honest.
Without getting the first person POV, this is a way different like angle to come at him from. You know, like the first comic I read of him is from his perspective, and that creates all sorts of cool plot devices and all that kind of stuff. So this is a different angle that I do enjoy, and I really like the actor, but I think some of like the he's unstable language was a little too, unless I guess maybe that was the point, but a little like too hard, like driven home. Fontaine's assistant being like, "But he's so unstable. But he's so unstable. He's just drug addict."
I think that's the point. Is like literally they treat him as an object rather than a person.
I think yes.
And then when it comes to like Yelena and them, they're just like, no,
because
he's a human being.
They turned that same language on the rest of the Thunderbolts with the we're losers.
Like
nothing.
These losers, like
they're not going to do anything.
Healthy.
I think that was maybe deliberate. Of like they think nothing of him and the rest of them, and that's sort of why the rest of them as on the same level of fucked up that why they sort of bond with him is because they
can't wait for Doom to kill them all and then Sentry to be the only one left alive. Truly can't wait for that epic moment when the Avengers fight Doom and Doom just goes, nah.
I really enjoyed how they translated Sentry into this. I think the idea of coming at him from a different perspective, like you said, from a third-person standpoint, and meeting Bob before we even meet Sentry was a good entry into feeling kind of sympathy for him in this whole situation of being like a Superman in a world where, technically no one can really hurt him. He isn't invincible. And I really love what they did with the...
They said it so many times in the movie, and it's all I could think of.
Yeah. That's what you gotta edit in, Elias.
Every fucking time.
Every time we mention it.
I mean, he's invincible.
The last thing I personally want to say is, like, I was worried, with the little that I knew, that he was just going to just be Adam Warlock, and he was just going to be, like, this fucking god-tier character who shows up, is misled by the bad guy, beats up the heroes, then at the end, he's like, oh, you guys are actually good guys. I'm gonna help you stop the end of the like. I like that. Not only was it not that, it was like way better, way more in depth, and like
I like where he has that moment where he's like, "Why should I listen to you?"
Yeah, that's cool.
Like, it was like, oh yeah, why?
in the middle of the movie, like from when she sort of first sat down with him and be like, "Oh, I want to make you a superhero," to like when they're making the costume, showing him his power, and then at the end, I leaned over to my brother when we watched it, and I was straight up like, "They're just speed running Homelander." Like, that's what they're doing. They're just like they're really just like how quickly can we just
make
fuck his how quickly can we just mess him up? And then the blonde hair, I was like, oh my god, they clearly do not have the boys in the Marvel universe, because if they had that show, she would know not to do that shit.
The only thing that she didn't do was put him in an American flag. That was really the key thing.
Yeah, well, she already did that with U.S. Agent, so
that's true. It's true.
I really liked his performance, but I do feel like the character, like, I understand his function being like, the highs and the lows and the, the void and the sentry, but for some reason it just felt a little on the nose to me at times, like being like, yeah, like I get that these characters have highs and lows, but like having a character that embodies that within that movie, just felt a little on the nose, but like served a purpose that I was like, okay, I get it, but it was just for me personally, it was very on the nose. I don't know.
But like, yeah, like people take different representation in different ways. Like for me, this was great representation. For you, it might not be. Like for me, like I kind of like when people like beat people over the head a little bit with the messaging, where it's like people are fucking idiots and people sometimes don't get the message. Like, bro, like people don't understand fucking Homelander is a villain. Like, if people can't understand that, you kind of have to be like, hey, the Sentry is mentally ill, guys. He needs mental health help. Like, hey, guys.
I think the whole story is centered around him. Like the whole theme. Like I feel like they probably said, how can we put Sentry in a movie? And they're like, all right, well, let's do Thunderbolts because we can talk about trauma.
He has
mental
to be
health
the movie.
issues. Yeah, like I feel like he was kind of the catalyst for this whole idea in terms of, discussing mental health in a way that is physically embodied.
That is what I was gonna say, is that I would agree with Olias, except for the fact that like it was so consistent and so solid throughout the movie. Like this is the theme. The highs and lows is the point of the movie. That's the point. That it wasn't just like a movie with the highs and lows. In my mind, it was like, okay, this works because they decided early on in whatever making this movie that they said, this is what it's going to be about.
Yeah,
highs and lows. It's going to be about it's going to be about Sentry because he is the highs and lows guy.
Yeah.
It's going to be about all these characters who have had highs and lows. Bucky, USA, like they've all had amazing moments and horrible moments. It's going to be about what that's like. And I think for me, it was just like the fact that they kept it so good and consistent is sort of what kept it from being annoying for me.
Okay. That's fair. I think again, it's just like, I mean, just how I like to see, messages represented in movies. I like it a little more subtle. Like I was just talking to my friend about like, Jordan Peele movies, like they're all very on the nose except for Nope. Like they're all very on the nose, like this is the message, where I don't really love that strategy. So that's just me. Yeah. But I just had to say.
Completely different genre. I think it's maybe because I just like 2 days ago came from watching utterly different genre, director, whatever. I saw the new Alex Garland movie, Warfare. And that was the exact opposite, where it was so subtle, I'm kind of left going, okay, what was the point? Yeah. So for me personally, I'm just kind of going from that to this. I'm sort of like, I'm glad that they had a theme that was maybe slightly too obvious, but at least you knew why the movie was made.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was gonna say, and then we can talk about like a little bit of the action scenes, and then the last little bit. I love the void design, like straight up. I love that special effect.
It was
like
really
literally just making him
Void of light.
A void of light. Like that to me, it looked so good.
Yeah.
The eyes being the only thing that you can barely see.
Reflective.
Even when like,
I was happy
punching
about the
in.
eyes.
In the like dreamscape, whatever, at the end when they're like facing off against the void in his mind, and he's in the lab sitting on the thing. In the beginning, you think it's like it's him, but it's just the way that the light is. You're just seeing the shadows, and then he gets up, and you're like, oh, he just like is the shadow. Like it's not like the back of someone where he's being lit from the front.
Yeah.
It's like he turns around. It's like no, he's still not lit, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Which I think was like just done really cool.
Yeah.
Also, I straight up thought he killed everyone when he turned. Like when I saw that he like started like turning people into like Chernobyl shadow or like nuclear shadows, I was like, oh, these people are just dead, huh?
Yeah.
And then Yelena went in, and I was like, okay, so they're not actually dead, but that that had the possibility of being really
disastrous.
Really
I like that he's just sort of a walking snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically
like
he is the
Infinity Gauntlet. Like
that is,
which also again speaks to how OP he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is one complaint I kind of had though, was I wanted people to get at least killed by the rubble, because I wanted there to be some real consequences. Like as soon as they started spending like a whole minute on that crane falling and hitting the building and then causing this rubble and causing that rubble, it's like, oh, okay, they're taking the time to show the damage that heroes cause and the damage that, you know, we see in the MCU and don't really think about. And I was really hoping that people were just going to start getting crushed by rocks and shit. I was like, and then when the, you know, girl gets voided, that had that feeling and that had that effect, and it was just, it kind of took away from it at the end, knowing that it could just be undone.
Yeah.
But I thought the effect was super cool though. To have, I thought
it was funny that no one recognized him because he was literally a void. Like everyone was like, "Who's this Bob character at the end?" And it's like, no, this is the guy who literally almost killed everyone. But
the eyes were a good touch, because I was afraid without the eyes it was going to look stupid. And not flat. So the eyes were a good touch.
I do think that flat could have been cool too. Like if he was completely cool. Like looked like he was in like just taken out of a fucking 2D movie, like silhouette,
looks like Flat's family,
black, like flat, like completely like that.
I think that would have been cool
in a 3D thing. I think the contrast, if they did it right, would be cool. But I think he also looked amazing the way he is right now.
Yeah,
I also will say I do agree with Elias about like I wish what had happened was they saved those people and then more rubble happened and then more people died regardless of them saving those people. Mm-hmm. Like that would have to me landed the thing of like, oh, they saved some people but they only saved some. Like this still has consequences.
I think
like,
I agree with you.
Also, I definitely would have liked that, like, if the Sentry thing did actually, like, did result in some deaths, because
there wasn't a lot of deaths in the movie.
Just saying, New York is bound for another horrible accident.
How will
it's been a minute since the Chitauri invasion, and
how will this affect Wilson Fisk's re-election?
I was asking
how is this?
You have to understand. Vanessa was as a shadow.
This is why we can't have vigilantes. Like
without these vigilantes, we wouldn't have this void.
the whole city was turning black, and I was like, "You think Spider-Man's in there somewhere?"
I literally said to him, I was waiting for him to save someone. Like, see a web come out of nowhere. And just, like,
I do think that we kind of talked about it in the Daredevil video, but we are sort of reaching a point where problems are getting a little too big to sort of be like, oh, they just weren't aware of it at the time. It's like, dog, the entire city disappeared. The massive explosions on Avengers Tower, what used to be Avengers Tower.
It's getting a little
he's
silly.
Not going to be at least on the way.
Yeah.
Like maybe if he didn't get there, he's not going to be like it's hard to balance, but it's starting to get a little bit like where are these people? Where's Matt? What
did we just talk about that they did integrate people?
97. I was thinking X-Men 97.
No, not animated.
You see all these fucking characters. You see
No,
I mean,
I was like,
that is
this
again,
good.
we did say
this is a cinema. This is Marvel.
Yeah, Lucas and I were saying in the Daredevil video, like we did like some of the other like what's his name, Swordmaster or Swordsman?
Swordsman, yeah.
Swordsman, not Swordsmaster. Yeah, that like
No,
him,
Swordsman is the Avengers character. Swordsmaster is the Iron Fist character.
Yes. Okay, Swordsman, like showing up was kind of a cool tie-in because they would be in the same sort of circles, Wilson Fisk and Swordsman. So, and I liked that. I don't know what else we were talking about.
There was it was a different show or movie or something.
Yeah,
we were talking about.
Wait, but let's bring this back to the movie.
Well, no, I was gonna say like
movie.
the point being that like with a huge threat like the Void, there should be some response, and that was something that Luke and I did talk about. Was like, where are all these characters, right? Because I like this movie.
For him to,
I like this movie being self-contained, and I like just focusing on these characters. I get that, but when you do have the MCU being as old as it is, it's sort of ridiculous to not have some cameos.
You get the Celestial problem, the dead Celestial.
Oh, that's what we were talking about. Yes, that's what it was.
Where it starts Captain America. Weird. Where it starts getting weird when you don't mention it. Like in the next Daredevil season, in the next Spider-Man, it would be kind of weird if they didn't mention, hey guys, remember that one time the whole city vanished? Even if it was like, I get, and that's what I was sort of trying to like go away of like, okay, everything happened within the span of 5 minutes. That's not enough time for any other heroes to like really figure out what's going on. I get that, but
Doctor Strange.
I don't know.
Well, again, it might be like Doctor Strange looks out the window and he goes, "Oh shit, something's going on,"
and then
he goes.
That's all I want.
To
be fair. Yeah, to be clear, that's all I want.
It would break up the movie too much. It would break up the movie too much in my mind. It would just be too like, there's Doctor Strange. Like it would take me out.
Take you out of it.
But
then we get the cameo problem, where it's like everyone gets a cameo, and then it just becomes another Deadpool movie.
So I'm fine with it not being in this movie, but it will be weird if in the next, I don't know, Daredevil season, in the next, like, would Wilson Fisk not say something when he's so anti-vigilante about the city disappearing and new vigilantes save the city? Like, that seems relevant.
He's a mayor.
He's the mayor.
He has to say something to comfort the people.
Not only that, he's the anti-vigilante mayor. Like, he's the anti-vigilante mayor, and now a bunch of known criminals are now the new Avengers saving everyone. Like, that's
I'm gonna grab the reins real quick again, so that we can.
What I liked about Captain America was that we had the dead Celestial in the water. That's what I was thinking of. So you reminded me of that. So that's the integration that I'm like, oh, cool. Like this can be seamless. It doesn't have to be like, guys, look, it's the thing from the Eternals movie. It's just like, hey, like this is a problem. We're gonna deal with it. And
that's exactly what I mean. Like before the new Captain America, it was a problem. Like everyone was asking, like, so is no one gonna bring it up? And then they brought it up, like.
Well, I was just gonna say we should talk about the fight scenes and then the post-credit scenes, and that should
we have to. It's already at hour 7. Which is so long.
It's okay.
Well,
we'll edit it down.
Thanks.
So I really like the
real quick,
Yelena...
Invincible.
I really love.
Have you throw it in random? Like now you have to watch the whole video to see if we say it again.
Yeah.
Yelena's fight scene in the beginning was really cool. I really like the top-down view.
Yeah.
The fight with the Sentry was phenomenal. Like that was so well done. Yeah, the Oneer.
Yeah, that.
Oh, that was a Oneer. I didn't even recognize that. True.
I mean, they had 2 Oneers. They had the one with Yelena in the beginning, where it was top down. It was just a Oneer from top down, but it was still a Oneer.
Variant on the Marvel hallway scene, I think.
Yeah,
like the top down, like that's a really cool, like just
switch up
way to switch it up and also just keep the hallway scene.
Also, like the fight between like the different like US Agent and Taskmaster and Ghost, like it easily could have felt stale because I mean they're literally like they say we just all punch people, like that could have easily felt very stale, but it didn't.
I like the use of their surroundings, like all the boxes getting knocked over. Like
they really showed strength well in this, and
that too.
Like I feel like when people are hit, they're like flown. Depending on like who the character is, but like when U.S. soldier hits someone, they fucking fly.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Is that the when I was watching it, and for me, every Marvel movie I look at, I'm always like in the back of my mind, I'm always comparing it to. To me, they go hand in hand. They're like an Infinity War and all that. That the Civil War and Winter Soldier, or Winter Soldier Civil War, like the fights in that are so like people getting just thrown into cars and visceral, and it feels like a bunch of jacked up superhumans just throwing each other around. Just like the weight of, in those movies, it's like just the weight of Captain America running into you is enough to just send you flying. Just running into you. And this in every Marvel movie, I'm sort of in the back, like I don't even want to sometimes, because it's rough to compare it. But in this one, it felt like that, where it's like, yeah, they're just fucking sending people flying. They are breaking blocks.
They're superhuman.
They're superhuman.
And they're fighting normal people. Yeah, I think that really sells an action sequence, especially in something like this. I mean, I feel like we kind of forget that these are action movies. I mean, they're superhero. They have a lot more than just action. But like, I think a good part of this kind of stuff in this genre is watching like fantastic shit play out on screen. Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of stuff that I think stood out in action-wise in this was like Bucky grabbing the wench from that one RV, or the one
the car,
the rope or whatever.
And he slams it into the ground.
That was fire.
The knife.
That was so cool.
The knife, when they're all fighting each other in the beginning, and I forget, I think it might have been Taskmaster throws the knife.
Well, Yelena throws the knife.
Yelena throws the knife.
Someone catches it. Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, Taskmaster hits it back, and then Ghost throws it back, and then John catches it and just returns it right back to Yelena. I was like, that's awesome.
But really, Taskmaster shouldn't be able to get killed that easily. Let's be honest. Like, her whole point is that, or the Taskmaster's whole point is that they learn quickly. Like, so they should be able to account for Ghost pretty quickly. But besides that,
but
the fighting's cool.
Like,
also, I will say, I also count it as an action scene. The whole going through the Bob's like void spaces, like that was so well done, and the cinematography during that, like we felt as like violently like moved and like going like falling through the different ceilings and the walls. It was so well done.
That's when I knew this was the guy who did Green Knight. Like Green Knight has a ton of movement in everything, in almost every scene. Like there's just one scene where you're like spinning around 360 around, just like looking at Dev Patel escape a rope.
Yeah, and a lot of like, you don't know what's real and what's not. Like a lot of like, oh, this thing you're holding in your hand just isn't there anymore, and you don't know what happened. Like, it does very much feel like that.
But so the post-credit scene,
first one was just
Wheaties. Guys, make sure to get your Wheaties.
Are Wheaties still a thing? Even
Wheaties are still around. I've never had them.
Yeah,
I literally don't think I've ever had them either.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were like. I know of them. I
had shredded wheats.
I had them, but I
was it mini wheats?
I'm a
mini wheats. Yeah, but
I'm a frosted mini wheats guy. If I'm having that sort of thing,
watch out for our cereal tier list coming in 2028.
Don't I'll do a fucking cereal tier.
I've made mine. I have mine saved to my computer.
Elias probably has one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
But the second post-credit scene was interesting. You could tell that it was definitely filmed later than the rest of the film.
Like a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sold on how it felt. It felt a little bit rushed, and it definitely it for me exaggerated the whole like 18 months later was crazy.
I was excited watching it because, oh my god, they're the Avengers, which was a sick reveal at the end of
that was
this
a cool
movie
reveal. By
the way. I was like, that's cool. And I again, I like them. I like them more than Sam, Captain America, and Spidey getting in. Like, nothing about those characters, but they, in my mind, should be doing other stuff. They shouldn't be the Avengers. They should be developing their own characters. Have Sam feel more like Captain America first. Have Spidey feel more like Spidey. All that stuff. and I was glad that they were Avengers now, only for them to weirdly take it away because Sam is being a dick. And I was excited at the time about Fantastic Four, but looking back on it, it's weird that they're seemingly revealing the ending of
end of the
Fantastic
movie.
Four.
They just spoiled it.
Although,
which is that they lose.
Yeah,
like that's basically they just basically said, yeah, so their dimension's dead. They're the only ones that survive.
Yeah, which also
not what
which
I took
also
away
makes me
from it
think,
at all.
How does their
No.
But it also makes me wonder, how does their dimension die? Galactus just kills your planet, not your dimension. Maybe they're fleeing.
Not what I took away from it at all.
What'd you take?
Planet.
Yeah, what did you take away from it?
Well, I mean, I thought it was just super hyped to see some integration of, multiple movies again, like different shit colliding.
But
That's what I was excited about.
They explicitly said it was like a dimensional thing.
Yeah.
A dimensional
Yeah.
anomaly or
rift
something.
or whatever they
So
say.
I mean, I just took it as, hey, they're the Fantastic Four.
You're just stupid.
In this universe, they just explored different dimensions and stuff like that. I mean, the negative zone has always been a thing.
Not true.
Reed has always wanted to find what's out there. So that's
maybe
all I
they
took
don't-
from that.
Yeah, maybe they don't lose, but it still feels a little strange to sort of hype up guys
We
that
haven't
haven't happened yet. That like
Well, they have to because literally Doomsday. Like it's a.
Well, they
this
know
is-
it needs to land. I mean, they know
This is-
FF is exciting for people also, but they know it
but like
needs to perform.
that's also like you don't need to try and boost that, like everyone I know is hyped for FF more than they were for Thunderbolts. If anything,
Well,
FF should be
to be
advertising Thunderbolts. Like it
But
again, I was excited seeing it, but it just feels a little like I'm wondering why they did that. Why
it's
they
the,
chose
the
to
why
go back
is just Doomsday. Like
They're
that's
rushing. They're rushing to get to
Yeah.
Doomsday.
because Doom was supposed to apparently be like after Kang was supposed to be like the third one. Like so, it was going to be Thanos, Kang, and then Doom. But now that Kang is out, they just have to rush Doom in.
It makes me a little concerned because
A little concerned.
Well, because what DC learned the hard way, and what Marvel recently learned the hard way, is that you can't rush a Avengers Endgame level. You have to build up the characters, you have to build up the team, you can't rush it. And I'm a little concerned that after a movie that felt like a good reset, they're gonna rush back into Doomsday again because we need the big Infinity War again. And I was like, you just figured it out. You just figured out it doesn't work after Kang and after all that.
I need
outside
10 more
of
films like this.
Yeah,
Before that.
I'm fine waiting for Doctor Doom, especially Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom.
I'm curious.
But I'm fine waiting to build it up to make
Actually,
it
you know what?
good.
I'm fine with like Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom to never appear. I would just be down with that never happening.
I would love that, but short of that, no. I really think that it's yes, because they have to hype it up, but also because they know people are excited.
That's true.
They know that they put a lot of money into this movie.
Into Thunderbolts or
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
Four.
They know
Thunderbolts,
that
how
they
much
haven't
money
been
did they-
doing really end
Thunderbolts
credit
was
scenes.
160 million.
They haven't
that-
been doing post credit scenes for
That sounds
several
kinda low
movies.
for Marvel.
Well, Brave
Sorry,
New
I don't
World
mean to
was just
interrupt,
dumb.
Elias, but
It's like him meeting.
You're
the
just
leader.
being a little rude. It's fine.
yeah. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's just 160. That's kind of
No, that's
low
pretty
for
high. That's pretty
for a
high.
Marvel
160 is
movie?
pretty high.
Yeah.
100
Oh,
is
is it?
usually like
Okay,
a
I'm not-
100
I'm
million
higher
is usually
big
the
budget
normal.
movie.
Yeah, I'm not huge on budgets for these.
Well, there's a
movies,
lot of
but
CG in this, so that rockets balloons the budget.
You good, Elias?
So, to close out this video, because this is a long video,
Yeah.
let's give our ratings and then call it a night. So, Balti, what do you give this out of 5?
Ooh. I'm gonna say 4 Wheaties boxes out of 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 dishwasher washed Bucky arms.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm going to
5.
give
I
this...
love
five.
that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I'm going to give this 4.5 Void Centuries out of 5.
Wow. Okay.
I really love this film.
Good.
It's why I'm genuinely surprised. As someone who had low expectations, genuinely surprised.
3.75 void smears out of 5.
We're just changing the whole unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just changing. That's what I said. That's what I said last time. I was like, Why we're getting into so many decimals? We gotta like bump it up to 10 or something. Where at this point,
No,
it's
that's
getting
fine. Just
I'm at
3.9678 repeating
yeah,
out of 5.
that's what I was thinking.
And so if you average all the scores, Olias, future Olias, the one that's editing right now, put the average. No, I'm joking.
Do the
Nah,
math. Stick
I
it
don't
on the
really
calculator.
feel like it. You know, I'm just gonna upload that clip from SpongeBob instead of
Yeah.
the Thunderbolts review.
Yeah.
I think-
Anyway,
yeah.
I think
let's no more thinking.
Like, comment, subscribe, leave below your thoughts on this movie. Thanks for tuning in.
Invincible.
Go
Go
watch
the
it.
funniest part is that I was thinking about saying Invincible
I was
also.
waiting, and I wanted to try and pull it out somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
go watch this movie. Actually, you know, form your own opinion.
Support your theaters.
Yeah, support your local theater. And
We're
follow
so
us.
back.
Follow us
your
on-
AMC.
Fuck AMC. So follow us on Instagram at the Cosmic Panel. Follow us on eBay at the.cosmic.panel. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye bye.